Hoping that a hell rain, things like we heard on the decks. Glover hold the court and give the chief no suspect. Politics in the mix, like Gumbo Stewart Rich. Spinning tales from Black Wall Street, real life's the pitch. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Donnie Glover Show, be more news.
Welcome to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. How you doing, man?
Man, feeling well, man.
What's your name?
My name is Cardi Cornish.
And you a legend?
I'm a legend.
You're a legend here in Baltimore City. Where we at right now?
We live in the 17, Pennsylvania Avenue. The legendary Pennsylvania Avenue.
Man, the last time I saw you here, you were doing something just across the street here. What were you doing?
Oh, yeah, I had some food left over from an event. We brung it out. We fed a couple of people, man.
Why you do that?
Nice soul food.
Why you do that?
Man, the love that God has shown me in Christ, man, it overflows. That's how it overflows.
Yes, sir.
We got more than we can use. We got more than we can handle ourselves. We try to let it flow. Let it flow to the next person.
Yeah. We're proud of you, man.
Thank you.
And we're proud of your son.
Thank you.
You're watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
Business sticks hotter than lava. Got that Midas touch. Stocks and blocks teaching youngins how to clutch. Ears to the concrete, finger on the pulse, dropping wisdom like Hova. Each word a joke. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. 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 Walls painted black, history on lock. Blast off from Tulsa, rebirth like a clock. Markets rising from ashes to gains. Guiding the narrator, truth runs in veins. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Donnie Glover Show, be more news. Donnie Glover Show, be more news.
First name's Donnie, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul, baby. Andy Pierre.
How we doing? How's everybody doing this Monday morning?
All is well, sir. How are you?
I'm all right.
How was your weekend?
Well, it came on. It's coming along. I've been ripping and running and working, trying to keep up with the flow of things. Small elections.
Yeah, we got an election coming up next year. This time next year.
Yep. Well, we also have an election coming up by the end of the week. It's not a big election, but it's the Young Democrats of Maryland.
What are they trying to elect?
They're trying to get their board together. You've got Ruben Amaya running for president. You got Ufoma Agarin running for president. Her from the Black Caucus. You got Calandra Young. She's president of PG Young Dems. Delhi Okafor. So it's just a lot of the young upstarts that we know and love from down in Annapolis out here trying to make some waves and bring new members in. So that's helping out.
Who do we need to keep an eye on?
I would say Ufoma. Definitely keep an eye on Ufoma. She's the current executive director of the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland, and she's running for president. There's never been a Black woman president of the Young Democrats of Maryland. And let's say Ufoma, Calandra, and Delhi win, that'd be the blackest board.
Do they support Black media
that YDM has ever had? Huh?
Do they support Black media?
Yeah, they'll support Black media.
No, not will they, do they?
I mean, Ufoma, yes. Freaking Calandra, I know she does, but it's like she's down in Prince George's though, so I don't know. But
what do you mean? Prince George's is a majority Black jurisdiction. You say it as if they don't have Black media there. They got the Washington Informer.
So Washington Informer is a Black-owned media outlet?
Well, absolutely. Denise Rolock Barnes.
Learning something new today. I'm making a note of it.
I'm
Denise?
writing my fourth book, huh? I'm writing my
Denise
fourth book.
Rolock Barnes.
One of the things I just touched on was how in running Be More News, we've dealt with a litany of Black elected officials. The Republicans will beat their way to my door. White Democrats will beat their way to my door. But sometimes the biggest challenge is with our own politicians. Now, they run to us when they get in trouble, when the mainstream media is beating them up. But it's like nobody shares with our young Black elected officials the need to have a relationship with the Black media. Who's schooling them?
It's a lot of them schooling themselves, a lot of watching the white media and going off of what is being accepted as a general
Nothing ticks
consensus.
me off more as a Black media owner is when somebody shows me about an article in the Baltimore Sun.
But they could have got that news before the news right with you.
Do we understand the Sun has never been our friend? When the Baltimore Banner came online, the Baltimore Sun put out an apology to the Black community. Why? Because of their disrespectful treatment of the Black community for decades. That's why I was really glad when both the Afro and the Baltimore Times had their two big events. The Baltimore Times down at Harbor Place, and then the Afro down at the Marriott Waterfront. But these outlets were, in their prime. They were on Front Street, on for the world to see. Black media. Michael Haynie, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Donnie. Good morning, Andy. Good to see
Your volume is down, Mike. Danny Blount, good morning.
Good morning to you all. How you doing?
All right. Somebody's got a humming sound. Who's got the humming sound?
I don't hear it.
How's that, Dan? How's that, Donnie? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. So we were just talking about, I was sharing that I'm writing my fourth book, and currently I'm writing about the need for our Black elected officials, because Andy just rattled off some names for the Maryland State Central.
Young Democrats.
Yeah, Democrats.
The Young Democrats of Maryland.
And he was rattling off some names, and I asked him, do they support Black media? As I reflect on 2.5 decades of news coverage in Annapolis, I found that not all of our Black elected officials understand the need to support Black media. But we'll hold up like, hey, I was in the Baltimore Sun. And I'm like, the Sun has never been our friend. Anyway, what's going on in your world, Danny?
Oh, wow. One of the biggest things that's going on in my world over here in the North Baltimore County West is the redistricting. We got a big redistrict map that's being produced. One is by the ACLU, and one is by the Woodlawn Approach. Today actually was 3 years ago that Linda Dorsey Walker and a few of us from the Black Horizon group went to Councilman Jones and asked him, would he support 4 more additional districts in Baltimore County?
And what did he say?
He didn't support it at all. And that was a long journey. by not having not just the support of him, but others as well, other elected officials. So we had to do all of this by write-in signatures. They wouldn't allow us to do it electronically. They didn't support us. It was a long, drawn-out process. If any of you guys know about it.
Oh yeah, we do. And I just want to cut it short. How many years have you been waiting on this?
It's been 3 years,
3 years
since we went to them.
And now Julian is going to need all of you come next year's election.
That's right.
So let's just get to the nitty gritty.
That's right.
How does that look? Does it look like he's going to get the community support, or will the community remember that he wasn't there for 4 more? Has he frozen up? What do you think, Mike?
So I like your question about why Black politicians don't support Black media. That is complex, compelling, and profound. I mean, through you, I have had an opportunity to see that lack of support for, from their perspective, credible reasons. Does it give them the traction? Does it give them higher and best use of their funding versus going into traditional media outlets? Because that's the comfort level with them. They don't believe that, and I'm not making assumptions. I'm saying what it is. They don't believe that Black media is the best and highest use of their funding, particularly when much of their funding does not come from Black people. It comes from special interests. And in doing so, it has to go into traditional media sources, whether they believe that media source is friendly to them or not, because while they'll take their money and 6 months later persecute them for whatever it is that they find, they still find their comfort level there versus going with you, where they look at our demographics, they look at 10, 10, 90 and know that their reach is only 3 miles beyond Woodlawn, et cetera, et cetera. So we have gotten so used to we have gotten comfortable with putting our resources into the enemy's camp because we believe that may give us the most opportunity to win. And then when we look at where our people, so everybody wants the sandpaper thrown on their porch, but yet they don't want the afro, so we got a complexity of issues related to educating our people to what they knew in the 1800s when they were passing communications. And we know more than what we understand. How about that?
Andy, I blame you.
You blame me?
I do too. I
blame you because you are
all his damn fault.
Yeah, Andy, you are the premier campaign advisor to these candidates, and yes, you help some of them see the need for Black media, but they listen to you, Andy.
The thing is, they don't always listen to me.
Before he even answers, Donnie, and I'm his senior, so I'm going to interrupt, Donnie, before he answers to what you said to him, right? Because he needs a paycheck too. And so he's not going to push them going to you by saying, for instance, hey, unless you use Black media, don't call me. Not saying we can't use traditional, because that's what we begin to leverage when Andy says to them, hey, you got to use Black media.
Hold up, Andy, do I hire you?
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the candidates.
Well,
Andy
maybe I've got to give Andy more of an incentive.
Yeah. Tell Andy to tell the candidates, hey, I'll work with you. I'll be your consultant, but you've got to use Black media too. Okay. You've got to have 20, 30% of your media money towards Black, or else don't call me. But Andy can Andy do that and eat?
We covered the 41st district. Be More News covered the 41st district. Lakeisha Brown Wright Eel, Angela Gibson, Dahlia Tarr, Malcolm Ruff, Sean Stinnett. All 5 of those names were just floating in those 2 state central committee votes. No news outlet covered it like Be More News. Nobody uncovered what we did.
How much they give you? How much they give you?
Oh, it wasn't for advertising. That's what we're putting the bid in for now. We're watering the ground, wetting the ground, softening the ground now, because next year, yeah, we hope to be a go-to.
But to my question, Donnie, how much did they give you?
I've never asked them to give me anything.
But that's not the point.
None of those current people.
You shouldn't have to ask. You covered it. You covered it, right? You said you covered it like nobody else.
Yes.
Did they appreciate it by saying, hey, let's make sure we take care of Donnie?
I don't know if they appreciated it, but I think the community did. And I'll start with Monique Anderson, with David Smallwood. Those are leaders in the Edmondson Village area, the neighborhood you grew up in. And it wasn't for money. It was because it needed to be done. And to me, that's what grown people do. You see what needs to be done and you do it.
So you took a vow of poverty. You took a vow of poverty.
I didn't take a vow of poverty. I did my job. Danny, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. I'm doing good.
Matter of fact, we covered that 10th district 4 more like no other black news outlet. Matter of fact, we got the 2 meetings. One is tonight. Where's that meeting tonight? In Dundalk?
It's in Dundalk, and the next one is going to be in the Randallstown Community Center on the, I believe it's going to be the 19th.
Yeah, next Monday.
The 19th.
Yeah, the 12th and the 19th. Linda Walker, Dorsey's. Linda Dorsey Walker. What is it? Dorsey Walker? I always mess it up.
Yeah, Linda Dorsey Walker. Yes.
Dorsey Walker, a wildcat, a Northwestern wildcat.
She is a wild cat. She's her piece is on Be More News right now, and she's imploring the community. You can almost hear the stress in her writing. You can hear her voice saying, please, black people, come out, be a part. Andy, black people make up what percentage of Baltimore County?
I want to say
30%. Is that right, Danny?
Higher than that.
That's yeah, about 30%.
And let me tell you,
actually, in the Woodlawn District 2 is 74% black, and Randallstown is 60.2% black.
But the broader county is like the state of Maryland, 30% black. Right. And if you take the homes that black people have bought in Owens Mills, aren't they some of the highest prices for homes in Baltimore County?
Absolutely.
Like Mitchellville in Prince George's County.
And even Woodstock.
So just the tax base of black people in Baltimore County is significant. And if you don't think it's valuable, remember that blacks are 30% of the state of Maryland. And when Baltimore and Prince George's County are on the same page, whoever they vote for wins.
No question. You have to go through, Randallstown, Baltimore County in particular, Randallstown in particular, we are very high voting block. And that's what they're trying to do. They've always been trying to take the power away from our area because they know that we do have that power. But a lot of times people with power without the man, it's a problem there. I mean, the power is there. What? Without the man, it's a lot of times we're not using that power. We're not demanding things, even though we have that credibility, we have those facts and those numbers to be able to do that, but it's not being done. And I don't understand why. But factually, any other place. I mean, I understand why to a degree, but it's
called political apathy. It's called, I've moved beyond the Beltway. I'm comfortable, and I don't care nothing about not only an election. I don't even care about the PTA meeting. Tell the truth.
Oh my goodness! There you go. Any meetings? I mean, we have meetings, and we look around, and we don't see any of these cats. And see, me myself, as being a Central Committee member, I'm an elected official, but they don't look at Central Committee folks in that capacity. Only when they need us to go out there and to help, get votes for them or to rally and to sign wave and all these kind of things. but they don't understand the Central Committee is the most connected group of folks to the community, because most of all of us have been like community activists. We've gone.
So who do you define as they? You've mentioned they in the two different contexts to me as I listen to you. So for the edification of our viewers, who is they? When you
the elected officials, our delegates and senators. That's
okay, so you're talking political. I thought you were talking about the white people that control the political apparatus initially when you said they don't understand the context of our power. When you mentioned
no, I'm talking about the black folks. The black folks. I said power without the man. We have the power, but they don't use that power.
So who's they again?
Our black elected officials, the ones who represent our area out here. I mean, you look at it historically.
That's arguable.
I mean, it's arguable to a degree, but they don't when they don't show up at meetings, when they don't have meetings to discuss issues that are very prevalent to the whole area. I mean, you gotta meet. You gotta discuss.
Well, that's important that black people know that your they is black people and not what I assumed was other people, just to the point of Doni saying black politicians don't use black media. So the theys have expanded beyond the usual theys to understand that we're our own internal enemies. And
Absolutely.
It's important that we understand the context of that they.
Absolutely.
So let's make sure we're clear in understanding that the guns are pointed inwardly.
I'm not saying all black politicians. I'm certainly saying it's not being taught.
That's what you said at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
Not all black politicians.
Okay, so clarity.
There are some who understand innately the need for the black politician, the black media, the black church, the black business to work.
But nothing's being changed with that, Doni. They might know it, but what's getting done?
There you go. That's what I'm saying.
What's getting done, Doni? You and I know this. We all know that. All of us here, we are all, saying the same thing. We all know it. We really do know. So the ones, like I said, power without the man, it means nothing. So you have a title, but what are you doing?
So when I think of Andy's comment, Baltimore County is 30% black, but they don't really have a black news outlet anymore. Prince George County doesn't really have, and no slight, maybe there's something. I know they have a PG Sweet magazine, but I don't know that there's a Be More News in Prince George's County.
What about Northwest Voice?
Well, Kenny Brown, he used to do it, but it's been like 2 or 3 years since he's really done a publication, and I don't know why. I mean, that's
it's hard work.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work. It's hard work, but you got to mentor people. You got to mentor people, though, Doni. You got to get people ready for the next phase.
That's what I'm getting to. So when you look out Liberty Road, before you tuned in, Andy had mentioned Ruben Amaya. And I know he was a hair in you guys. He was a thorn in you guys' side, because at the end of the last election, I got the impression that the black community had not embraced Ruben.
No. Ruben did what he did was, we brought him on the Central Committee back in 2020, something like 2020, as a young, youthful Democrat, progressive, to bring him on to bring in other young folks. We did the same thing with Samay Kendra, if you guys know that name. He also ran for the school board in Baltimore County, in our district in particular, the fourth district, over 2 qualified black women. Listen to me, 2 qualified black women. He was supported by all of the elected officials, not me. All of them supported that guy.
Why don't you name them? Name the officials that support him.
Adrian Jones, Ben Brooks,
I know, because I know who you're talking about.
I know all of this. I know all of this.
People need to hear those names, though, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
They do, but they also need to hear the names of the people that have not been mentioned, man. Why hasn't there been a young black person that knows Andy, that knows Danny, that knows you, Mike, that knows me? Why isn't there a young black man? I have heard, who's the young man in Julian Jones's office?
Trevor. Trevor?
Trevor what?
He's his nephew, so he's family. His name is Trevor. He's a dynamic young man.
He's just Trevor. We know him as Trevor.
Oh, okay,
Trevor. That's what I know him as.
Okay, is he the heir apparent?
No.
Trevor Jones is his name. He's the chief of staff.
No, yeah, he's a family. That's his daughter's son. But
okay, you keep throwing it out there like family, like that's foreign or that's tainted water. He wouldn't be the only. He certainly wouldn't be the first person to push someone in their family. We see that across the political.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
He's in the job, and if he's not the one, then who else's name is being put out there? Because you know what? For us to be out Liberty Road, Randallstown, Bunny Rabbits, Deer, Foxes, suburban, we've gotten comfortable.
I've never been comfortable. Never.
We're comfortable. If we
I've never been comfortable,
then we would have more political activity out Liberty Road.
Let me tell you, when I came from Baltimore City, I was the president of Parkside Improvement Association. When I was there and I moved out here, I was trying to find out what was the political landscape. Who was the person? Who was this? Who was that? It was Dr. Ella White Campbell. She mentored me. It was Dolores Kelly. It was, Emmett Burns.
Ella White Campbell.
She was my mentor. When I got out here, she grabbed me and said, "Danny, this is what's going on."
Mike, she literally would grab you. I mean, maybe not put her hand around your neck, but she was a boss.
She was it, and she told me who was what and what was what. And Dr. Kevin Cabin. Oh yeah, eating crab cakes and everything. Absolutely, we were tight.
Table. That's Ella White Campbell. That's
Ella White.
And so when an Andy is advising these new candidates, Andy, you need to know Ella White Campbell. That's
right,
lead, brother.
That's right. Let me tell you something. When you talk about passing knowledge on, that's what Dr. Campbell did, and that's what we all supposed to do. Why have a position with knowledge and understanding and not passing on? That is our problem in our community.
Cheryl Pastor is of that same ilk. Would you agree?
Cheryl Pastor is a phenomenal person, a great educator, a new delegate in the 11th district. That was done because of a redistricting, a lot of work that was done in the background. Linda helped some of that, but she's great. But at the same time, when you look at things, when you write history, you got to tell it like it is. What has gone on? Was there really a bank put aside to mentor folks to continue the legacy of a Dr. Ella White Campbell, of a Ken Oliver, of whatever? It's our responsibility to do what we're supposed to do, and it's not being done at that level.
Liberty Road, we get out to the county and we get politically apathetic.
Donnie, all
Blacks
of them.
Out Liberty Road, generally speaking, and I may lose some supporters, but I'm going to say we do not use our political power like we should. That's
how I got involved in politics. I was elected official, right? But I'm also always been a community activist. I've been the president. I'm the president now of Fernwood Heights Community Association. I came out here in 1998, was president for 17 years. Kenny Brown and them came and asked me, Danny, we need someone from the community to be on the central committee. That's how I got involved. It's the only way I got involved.
You know what's profound about Baltimore County? When you looked at elected officials like Danny and Scott and Adrian and Ben, on a statewide legislative basis, you have more influence in Baltimore County than you have on the county basis. And so what makes more sense? You have to lay the foundation in the county, but yet you got influence in the state, but you don't have influence in the county. We mentioned two different council districts that are mainly black influenced, and only one black council person who's running for county council executive.
No heir apparent.
So I'm like, okay, you're willing to run on a statewide basis. What are you scared of out there? Is it the power of the county on the statewide basis, or the influence? But yet the county itself is kind of tilted.
You know what? I think. I mean, Mike, that's a great point, because even in our district itself, what's more important? Everything is important, but what's most important is grassroots. What's tangible? What is going to affect the people in your county, in your district? We are governed by Baltimore County. State is a whole nother level, but they're all conclusive. So everybody should be working together, and they should all demand respect at every level. At every level, it should happen.
It just makes you wonder why.
It does. It really does.
Makes you wonder why.
Okay, yep. Andy, chime in.
Well, the thing is, like, a lot of these young black leaders that are coming up, if we want them to be actively involved with supporting black media, we got to engage them. My ex-father-in-law his grandfather owned a black media company in New Jersey, and he used to say that if you want black people to support you, put them in it. And I think that's one of the best things that Doni does, is that he'll put you in, put you on. And until people just don't realize how important that is yet to the algorithms, to the Google algorithms. Like outlet like Doni's, right, is all of his content is original content, right? There's not really too many duplications. That's particularly from the big outlets, right? But it's credible news. It's coming straight from the source. So, and he has 30 years of doing it. Thus, his PR rating is really quite high. It's just a matter of getting black people to engage it at a more consistent rate.
You know who follows us the most? White media.
White folks. That's right.
White media.
That's right.
Because they want to make sure they know what's happening before. They want to know what black people are doing so that they can stop it.
Mike, you're shaking your head.
So the only reason I'm shaking my head because I'm listening to Andy. First of all, he divorced not only his ex-wife, but he divorced his father-in-law too. So, we got to stop divorcing the entire family, because they all ain't enemy, right? Some of them
it's so early in the morning.
And then secondly, to the question.
He divorced me. I tried to reach out. I wanted to be friends.
I hear you. So to the question about why black media somehow, because, Doni should be supported, and Doni appreciates what you say, but at the end of the day, until we immerse, like, black people will buy white media. So therefore, when black politicians look at media, they'll go to white media that's dominant of white, but with blacks that will purchase it. Now we need whites to purchase black media to make it credible.
White Democrats.
Let's just talk generically in terms of people and organizations, regardless of the affiliation. So white people will find black media credible when they see that white media is purchasing it too, right? Now it's credible. So in order to trick our people into buying black media, they got to see white people. Man, we are just all screwed up.
No, we are disaffected by American racism.
It's racism.
You said disaffected.
We are disaffected by American racism. And let me tell you, let me make one point.
Describe disaffected, because I would think that we're very much affected.
Affected in a negative way. Disaffected.
Okay.
Got it. Saying the same thing, Mike.
We're very
okay. Thank you, Danny. Because I'm not that smart. You got to break stuff down to me.
But you think about it, like, a lot of these young folks,
to the door, and they bring the check.
Difference between the thing about white media is they're leveraging a lot of different sciences. Like, they definitely leverage Dutch theory, and they beat you in the head with their ads and their snippets, and they're everywhere. And they have an amount of money that they spend in order to create this air. Like, for instance, the Philadelphia Inquirer. Philadelphia Inquirer got people in Philly really believing that they have that kind of reach. But me, with a mass text messaging system, beats their ass every fucking time.
Oh, what?
Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. They can't touch my candidates. They don't like it. Why? Because, hey, you have this background. At one point in time, you had that reach, but now you don't. You know, at one point in time, 100,000 people read your joints every
What
day.
about the
Now they
Philadelphia
don't.
Tribune?
Hmm?
What about the Philadelphia
is,
Tribune?
All of the Philadelphia news outlets have less power than they promote that they have.
That's the black newspaper.
Every last one of the media outlets in Philly have less power than they say they have.
Well, you have the context of media related to a sub-demographics of young, old, etc. We know that media has transitioned into higher technological times, right? So you have met the technological times where print. My mom has me go on Saturdays to buy the Saturday Baltimore Sun. There's 5 pages for $5, but that's what my mother wants. So I get it to her. I said, Ma, you can read this online, but that's not where she's at. So when you look at young politicians like Sheila versus Brandon, and why Brandon won, because of the demographics of young people, he was able to reach differently than Sheila was. And then he's okay, he's effective, man. He's done a good job. He really has. But his political astuteness in terms of campaigning isn't in the 60s and 70s. We have to transition. Doni's transitioned well, his media outlet. Why still hasn't he gotten traction? Because he don't have enough white followers. And maybe because he may be too black.
Let me shift gears a bit. Mike, as you mentioned Sheila, we did lose Armstead Jones, Board of Elections. Back in 2016, many of us looked at Armstead and wondered,
where those votes come from?
Had the votes been tampered with? There were some 1,800 voting irregularities in 2016 in Baltimore City compared with a couple hundred in the 23 other jurisdictions statewide. So God rest him, but I was never one who appreciated.
Absolutely, Donnie. And to your point, God, we still have to be humane to each other. But when we look at the context of the influence of some people and power systemically, we have to keep that in context, right? We have to keep it in context that the greater good, right? God rest his soul. But we really lost him in 2016. He physically is a part of the earth now.
That's right.
Right? And so the greater good has to look at that, but we still have to be humane because we serve a God, right?
We serve a God, but that one man was in the middle of potential progress, that one person. And I remember they brought in Linda Lamone from the State Board of Elections. It was a whole bunch of chicanery. Again, 1,800 voting irregularities in Baltimore City compared to 200 in the 23 other jurisdictions combined. And we got that election decertified. Hassan Giordano, myself, C.D. Witherspoon, we were out there on the front lines, and unprecedented, the election was decertified, meaning they had to count all over.
I remember that well. And don't talk about the Pope. Don't talk about the Pope.
Let's go ahead and go there.
Let's not talk about it in context of, the little black boys. You know what I'm saying? In terms of the power of media. Yeah. But we got to have a conversation, right? In order for people to understand where real power looks like in spite of, right? That still allows certain things to happen in spite of what's really important. And where the juice is really the coldest, we got to understand that. We see it, we cry, but we don't understand the sacrifices to the point of you still struggling. Well,
okay. So
I'm confused.
Andy, your family is Haitian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They say the new Pope,
Creole.
Leo got Haitian roots. And the term I heard, I have never heard it. Passe Blanc.
What does that mean?
White passing.
Passing is white.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, white people have decided that if you have one drop of blood in you, you black. So he's one of us. He's got one drop somewhere in his lineage.
No question.
Now he would not be
Yeah,
the first black pope. My understanding is he would be the third African pope. But Mike, last week you and I had a discussion, and for those out there who are history buffs, look up the Nicene Council, Nicean, the Nicene Council, because like many of you, I know that monotheism started in Africa. We know that the Bible stories are African. Over time, Jesus became white. How in the world that could happen? Real white too. It's like, wow. You can't hang in the Middle East and Africa. Middle East is Africa, by the way. You can't hang in Africa and not have melanin. But long story short, the Ethiopian church sent representatives to the first Bishops' Council, one of the first ones. They got there, they realized that it was not the Christianity that they practiced in Ethiopia. It had become mainstream, Greek translations and so on and so forth. And so I want to ask you, Mike, has the Catholic Church denied its African roots?
I know that I'm gonna preface it by saying I know the Jewish community has not, because they recognize Ethiopian Jews. I remember when they had the issues over there, they went and rescued them.
They rescued them, but then they put them over there in some South African swampland, and them those African fallacious Jews, they said,
their conscience was compelled. Their conscience was compelled. When you look at the Catholic Church, Donnie, I don't know. I can't answer that question. You know, all my kids were raised Catholic, and there's certain signs and symbols relevant to the African American community. We see a lot of the political persuasions, a lot of the vast wealth. The Catholic Church is vastly wealthy, and it is such a contradiction to me. I'm confused. I'm very much confused when I watch the Pope's death and subsequent resurrection of one that was from America. I'm just totally confused. When I look at some of the issues within that community, I am confused. It makes me question faith in God to an extent when I see such a billion of population of a organization with such confusion. It has me troubled.
140 billion.
It has me troubled greatly that they have not been able to resolve to the conscience of good the issues that they have in that church. I'm just confused.
Is it because they don't want? Is it because they don't want to?
Well, it's all money related to me. It all has to do with money. Like you had the ones here in here that declare bankruptcy from continuing to pay out fairly people that deserve to do so. So they use the legal strategy. Is that what you think inherently someone or an organization that represents God would do? Is that the godly thing to do? So I'm confused.
Some of these popes have families. Some of these popes have children.
Yeah, I'm just confused. And then we glorified it. They stopped the news. They stopped. Did you do a special on the Pope last week with CNN and Fox and everybody else, Donnie? They're powerful.
I don't play them games.
They're powerful, but you know, Donnie, it's the
Very
basis.
powerful.
And you know, it's almost more powerful.
They're regurgitating the same lies. We want to get to the nitty gritty. We want to know when you speak of, you know, Lauryn Hill did a wonderful album, Miseducation of the Negro. In that album, she talked about Lalibela. How many of us know about Lalibela? We're Christians. How many of us know where the oldest Bible in the world is?
Where is it? Please tell me.
Ethiopia.
I thought so.
Yeah.
How many
Look
of us
at
know
how
that the original Bible is not left to right, it's right to left? So whoever did the
I knew
translating
that.
to Greek and the other languages, what happened to those translations? And in the original Bible, did it say slaves be loyal to your masters? So this thing has been twisted, usurped, politicized, weaponized against black people. And the fact that you've never had a blackety black pope, how the hell I want to follow your religion?
Well, I think we have to be careful in how we judge, right? Because that's one of the things for any God that we believe in is that God is ultimately the judge,
How come there's never been a Chinese pope?
But we can absolutely educate.
Why is it always a white male?
As to the discrepancies and the contradictions and the controversy, our people need to be educated, right? And let them make their own choice. But that is one faith that I just don't.
And they connected to the mob, man. How come the mafia? The mafia? No wonder so many young black men running around with Italian names. I'm Scoglione. I'm Scarface. Why are young black people fascinated with Italian names? Don't we know about Hannibal?
Mm.
Go do
But
your
when you saw many of those mob movies, because of all the pending deaths, where did most of the deaths and the funerals happen?
in the black community because of
In
heroin.
the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is very much a part of that.
No question.
So they got paid. And so we don't understand the premise and the background of all that and the relationship between all the money that may have been filtered or laundered. I'm just speculating, right? So how was that money laundered? It's just scary.
It's very exposed. The Catholic Church has been, and I've seen someone put up, they have been very, very, very exposed about the intertwines far as with the abuse and stuff like that. That's been so amplified. It's just unbelievable. Even the General Assembly just recently passed bills to where you only can file lawsuits to a certain amount of money. If it's a private, it's this, it's that. So
that's very power. That's the power of the church. Just
that's
like
what I'm saying.
The power of it to get a voucher to pay your education portion with that voucher to a parochial or a private school. All that's part of that power base that is more scary than even our presidency, because they ground it in the Bible, which is misconstrued to manage and control the people based on how it's written. It's just, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm just
now, one part of a lot of Catholicism is hidden. How many of us know about the Shrine of the Black Madonna? How many of us know the significance of the Shrine of the Black Madonna to the Catholic Church? All across Europe, they revere the Black Mother. They know that Mary was a black woman, jet black, blackety black. Not even light skin. She's black. She's under the bed black.
Under the
and
bed,
the Pope
though.
reveres her. But in this country, those things are hidden.
Right. But that's part of the selling of religion, unfortunately. We may all be in religion for the right reason, as a basis to worship a God of our understanding and believe that there's a higher power and someone outside of man or woman that gives us reason for hope. But it's still something that's sold. It's a product. And when you look at the vast wealth, it's a product, right? And it's unfortunate. And this is part of the education that our people can come here, Doni, and get truths that are hidden. And then go weigh it and examine it and do the research themselves. But if they never know, what's that called? It's called ignorance. Even the smartest of us are ignorant.
Shout out to Murray Lang. I think his name is Father Charles Hughes. Is that his name?
Yeah. And Mother Mary Lang, which St. Francis Church in Baltimore was initially named after, who started that church a century ago, right? St. Francis Catholic Church in Baltimore. And so there's a vast, rich history of blacks serving the church for the right purposes, but you don't see
They
them.
came from Haiti.
Wow, now that I didn't know. But the upper demographics of that, or upper echelons of that church, we did not benefit from the. It's a rich, vastly rich organization.
It is, and you got St. Bernardine's Church on Evanston Avenue, the Gold Dome, Father Miller, Edward Miller, and you had several people that was at his church that went on to St. Edward's and things of that nature. It's a lot of history, a lot of dark history as well. So, but
Mother Mary Lang was born in San Domingue. Where's that, Andy?
Santo Domingo.
It says
That's in Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, right?
That's Dominican,
Dominican Republic. That's the country right
Which
next
is
to us.
not very far from the Haitian border, right?
No,
not very far.
They keep trying to steal more land.
Yeah, but this is the point, Donnie, that last week the news was dominated by the Pope conversation. The Catholic Church made people revisit their own religion, their own faith, regardless of what religion you were from. You followed the Pope news. Many people followed that, whether you were Baptist, whatever. Even the president recognized the devil that he is, right? And so, and he's going to go kiss the ring. His lips will burn, but it's just unbelievable, man.
He doesn't have lips.
And we don't get the story that you're giving us education to now, as people or Catholics that are black, and we need to hear that.
And Maryland has some significance in the American Catholic movement, correct? Is Maryland the first Catholic state?
Look at our counties. St. Mary's County, wasn't St. Mary's County the first county developed in Maryland? And didn't that come over? So there are some correlations between Maryland as a state and its foundation and that whole apparatus, man. And like I said, I'm just nervous talking about it.
Maryland is considered the first English-speaking colony where Catholics were granted religious freedom and established a significant Catholic population.
Yes. Yep.
Because the Basilica of the Assumption, to my understanding, is the first Catholic church in certainly in Baltimore, but is it the first in America?
Not that it's my show, Donnie, but I think we've given them enough. Can we transition off of this very scary topic?
Okay, so what's up with your boy No Lips, President No Lips? What's he up to today? What's he getting rid of in terms of? He's getting rid of the Black history. He got rid of Carla Hayden. He got rid of the Black displays, the Black books. Harvard is punching him in his mouth. I mean, what are we going to do with this?
The most interesting thing about this, Donnie, what's happened is not that we're surprised or should be. It's what happens when he gets out, if he gets out, that the white people won't say, well, hey, we might as well leave that in place and let's move on to something else. So what I'm concerned and what I look at is post his administration, hey, no need in bringing the Department of Education back. Well, you might as well leave it the way it is. So does all of a sudden every 4 years we trade back and forth between, bring their books back, don't bring them back, give Harvard this, or we just because most of them, they're more alike than they are different. They just happen to be of different political persuasions, but many of them, believe it or not, that we're in conversation with are just like him. They may not be as radical. So look at what may happen in 4 years if a Democrat comes in, how much of it may not come back. That's
okay,
what you
let me ask this. How does the rest of the world view America right now?
Well, I think some of them aren't unhappy besides the monetary aspect of it. Many of them, as he says,
they think he's a clown.
Nah, man, they thought that Biden was a clown and Biden was weak. they understand they're getting what they expected out of this chunk, except the tariff. The tariff stuff were a surprise to them because now all of a sudden they're being taxed too. You know what I'm saying? They like dictators, man, because many of them around the world have authoritarian and dictatorships within their country. So they just hope that he doesn't go in 4 years because they don't like the American political system of every 4 years in and out, in and out, in and out.
What about this statewide election next year?
So you got the guy, with the soccer team. What's his name that declared bankruptcy with First Maryland Bank? Ed Hale. He's decided to run. Now it's a matter of whether Hogan comes in. Does Hogan jump in?
Not yet.
The Republicans
I don't know
have
if he does because it's weird because they're like, oh, he could jump in because the law says consecutive. You're doubling down on this whole consecutive thing. Like, yeah, go do something else, Hogan. You should have been running for president, but no, you got scared of Trump.
I like seeing a good Republican race in Maryland because it makes the Democrats step up. Right now, Baltimore City and Prince George's County schools, while there may be efforts, these two school jurisdictions are at the bottom, at a race for the bottom.
Always have been.
And it should be a I expected it to be a 9-1-1.
Absolutely. Dorchester County,
this whole thing doesn't get locked up in court.
Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Dorchester County, Prince George's County, the 4 highest jurisdiction of blacks in this state are at the very bottom educationally, regardless of the leadership.
And look at the curriculum. Why aren't we teaching about Willie Adams, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Reginald Lewis? That should be mandated in the state curriculum. And I'm tired of these white people leaving out black history.
We might as well be in Florida. To my point, it doesn't make a difference. They the same. So we're not in Florida. We could do what we want, but we don't. Just like you said. Why not?
That's it.
Look at that.
Why is it happening?
Still teaching that Columbus discovered America.
Oh, he didn't? He didn't?
But why is it happening? Why?
That's what they taught me.
Why? Why is it continuing to happen? 40, 50 years later, we're still talking about this kind of thing. Why?
Because the money, the budget is used as leverage to pay off political party. You've got $1.4 billion in Baltimore, similar in Prince George's County, and they use the contracts and the leverages. I mean, what happened to the 2 superintendents up in Prince George's County, Baltimore County, using monies for educational private organizations? So they don't care about education. It's all about the money and paying off political. Martin O'Malley was famous for it, man.
Yes, he was. So
that's why Baltimore City didn't own their own political education system. The state owned it. Right?
So the lobbyists and the developers control everything, right?
First century plan. Look at that 21st
Come on, guys. Is that the case? The developers and the lobbyists run things?
So you tear apart a school system in a community, then you're set up for gentrification. So that's what they did with the 21st century plan, particularly in Baltimore City. You're seeing it out in the county. Well, where are we going to put money at to revitalize education systems, etc.? Well, don't do it there because you know what will happen. So that's what they do. And, we can't figure it out with our black leadership, how we manage that process.
And that's what they'll say. Oh, you have a black this, you have a black that. Why are they not getting it done? Why? They represent you. Why hasn't it got done? They represent this district.
A shout out to the president of Burkina Faso, Uhuru. That's going to be it, folks. I got to get to
brother McKenzie. My ability to go around the world and talk on the ground to people. Like I've got some video clips from people in Africa, Dubai, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, where they will tell you their assessment of America. They reading the USA Today and the Washington Post. You know, this is what these people think. They like Donald Trump, man, believe it or not. I'm surprised to hear it, but they do. And Donnie, thank you for having me.
Agree, and it shocked me as well.
It's very shocking.
Tell you, there are other people around the world that visit Be More News, and I think if you can read between the lines, you know that we don't support a helicopter head. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Great,
Andy,
man.
we got more next time, Andy. Danny,
he's our mentee. Danny will be,
Hey, stay on top of that redistrict, guys. Please watch the redistricting out here in District 4 and District 2.
if y'all start going
44B.
over there to the Windsor Inn and get out there and be politically active.
Oh my God, is that not
you need some different guests because that ain't nobody hanging over Wednesday here.
Corinthians? They hang out in the
You know,
park.
I don't even heard of that either.
Corinthians, my bad.
Not even.
You sound like the rest of them, man. Is this not white meat? What are you doing, man? You can't say that.
Who own those places? Who own those places, guys? Greek Village. The Greeks. The foreigners own those places. But who?
I tell you what, them Jamaican joints out Liberty Road, they charging $18 for a jerk dinner, and they should be ashamed of their damn self. Ain't nobody.
You talking about Allen Cuisine or the new?
I'm not gonna say no names. I love Allen Cuisine, but I'm not paying nobody $20 for a piece of jerk chicken.
Go to Montego Bay on Rogers Avenue inside of Baltimore.
I go to Max's on Rogers Avenue, 3603. Max's, Tylenos, put anybody to shame. Best jerk chicken in the area.
Well, that's what Baltimore County does, man. You go out there, you've made it, you're out there.
You get one piece of chicken, $20.
You can pay for it. You can pay for it if you go out there. That's why I'm
jerk sauce on the side. That ain't jerk.
Oh my God.
They jerk you by charging.
Hey, Donnie, you ain't never lied.
I'm not, man, I went in there, there's like $18. I don't want a bunch of rice and red beans and some cabbage.
How about all the
and
bones?
then they chop your chicken wing up 6 times. I'm like, man, give me a whole damn chicken wing. What are you doing chopping my chicken wing up in 3 pieces? What are you doing?
I love you both. Thank you very much. Good morning, world.
This was great. Thank you, guys. Good
Hey, man, have a good one, Donnie. Have a good one, man.
Thank you, brother.